the final weekend. Some major upsets have already been seen. But for more, we cross over to Zai Khan to take us through some of our sporting highlights.
Thank you, Chantal. We know England have secured their spot in the Rugby World Cup final, ousting the three-time world champions New Zealand, and South Africa have their date with destiny tomorrow. Now, to dissect these two semi-finals, we've roped in SABC's Thando Mxoli. Thando, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
What a battle we had on our hands here. But it seemed it was more than just a team of the Red Roses playing the All Blacks. It was a case of Steve Hansen taking on Eddie Jones.
It was, and I think that's where the match was actually won and lost, because surprisingly the New Zealanders were very predictable in their play. Also, their team selection was not. It was a bit awkward because they seemed to want to attack the England line-out, which in the end backfired because they didn't have the mobility on the park. A guy like Sam Kane was taken out purely from a tactical point of view, because as a fetcher, all they made him do was tackle. Now, you can't tackle and fetch at the same time. They committed him to the ruck, and it was a master plan well executed by England, and I suppose they deserve to be in the final based on what they did in the semis. But that said, this All Black team, it takes a lot to beat them, and to beat them like that, that was a special performance.
It was a special performance. We usually would talk about the All Blacks not pitching up on the day today. However, England were just superb.
I think it's a combination of both, because normally the All Blacks would have they'd have it in their armory to change the plan. They've done it a couple of times against us, where you think you've got them against the wall, and then somehow they make a couple of substitutions and things change completely. Today, nothing worked. In fact, a lot of people were saying, why did he take off the experience when he made his substitutions? But nothing worked for them. I just think they had the wrong game plan for the English, and they were countered very smartly by wily old fox Eddie Jones. We know all about him. He did the same thing to us in 2015 when he was coach of Japan. So as much as it's a surprise, it's also one where you sit in hindsight and think, look, if anyone was going to outsmart them, it would have been England being coached by a smart coach like Eddie Jones. Well,
it was Eddie Jones against Steve Hansen. Eddie Jones triumphing. He'll go on to dance next week, Saturday. That's in the final. And we've got a big game again tomorrow.
Yeah, it will. But also, we need to consider one thing, guys, about Steve Hansen. As much as he's lost the semi-final, that guy has a success record of, I think, 96% at international level. He took over in 2012. 96% win ratio from 2012 to 2019, that's not bad. And for that, you got to respect him. But tomorrow's semi-final, Warren Gatland against Rassie, that's also another tricky one, because Rassie used to coach in Wales when he coached Munster. So he knows the best players from the country, and he knows how they play, the psyche. He helped a lot of them, like your CJ Standers and of this world, get up to international speed. So it will be interesting. And we've also, besides Rassie being there, Jacques Nienaber was there with him at Munster. Our fitness coach was there with him at Munster. So we have a lot of intel on the Welsh. But that said, they're a smart team. They're one of the best teams in the world. In terms of executing when it matters, they're right up there with the best. They've beaten the top teams in the world, and we shouldn't underestimate them, despite them having an indifferent World Cup.
Despite them also sneaking into the semi-final, we've also got to look at the psychological battle between the two coaches.
That's a funny one about the psychological battle. Both of them are not exactly mind games type of coaches. They go in there and they say this is what they're going to do. They're very upfront about their approach. Warren Gatland doesn't hide anything. He plays open cards. And both of them have had a lot of success doing that. He's made a couple of positional changes, bringing Lee Halfpenny, who didn't start initially for Wales, but he brings an experience and composure to that Welsh side, which is what you want. We unfortunately have lost Cheslin Colby, but still, Sbu Nkosi has shown that he's also he's got that X factor about him. He can score tries from absolutely nothing, and that's what we need. Out wide, we are blessed with great wings.
It was sad to lose Cheslin due to the ankle injury, but like our coach said, you can't have a 70% Cheslin and you've got Sbu, who's been exceptional in terms of delivering. So why not give him a chance to, honour his World Cup duties?
Which is a fair call. I think ultimately, in the final, Cheslin would get the nod purely because of what he has done. This guy is considered as one of the World Rugby Players of the Year. That's the kind of impact he's had on the international scene. And we forget that not so long ago, before he went to France, people were saying this guy is too small to play international rugby. And he's gone and proved everyone wrong, which is what we're looking for. And look, we don't lose much, but we still have weaknesses in our armoury, and we've shown a couple of frailties in our way to the semi-finals, which is a bit of a worry, but hopefully those things would have been worked on during the week.
Now, we know that our strength is unity when it comes to our beautiful country, and South Africa, 2 World Cups. What do you think the vibe, the mood, the feelings are like?
This team is maybe not as talented as a 2007 World Cup winning team, but it's more talented than the 95 World Cup winning team. Also, the relationships within this team is also an important factor, because we've actually got a group of guys who genuinely get along, which helps in times like this. They've had adversity, they've been at the bottom of the barrel, they've had their tribulations, and they've come out better. Remember, in 2016, this team got beaten by 50 odd points by New Zealand. They've turned that around to be, some would say, dominant over New Zealand in the last couple of years, and the fact that they've managed to overcome adversity says a lot about the character within the team. I believe in this team. I believe they've got everything to win, all the ingredients to win this World Cup. It's just a matter of them performing on the day. They've shown against the best that they can perform.
And before you disappear, we have to ask you about your predictions.
I'm thinking about 15 points we'll beat them by. Initially it will be close like in the Japan game, but I think at the end we've got too much in our armoury, and we should run away with this one. Should being the operative word, because it's a semi-final of a major tournament and you never know how things are going to pan out. But I think we should have this one in the bag, and we should look forward to a final. Yeah.
There we go. That's our special guest, analyst right here, rugby expert Thando, unpacking what we've seen this weekend as well as looking ahead to tomorrow's game. And speaking of armoury, we have our very own president. That's right. He is, he was in discussions earlier with our very own Captain Siya Kolisi, and giving, a rousing support, welcome and all the best to the team. And we look forward to that game, which will be tomorrow. We're bringing you updates right here on SABC News. But nevertheless, as we end the discussion, we know that there's plenty to talk about right here, and we have a special package put together by the team on how incredible the rugby has been.